So we got to catch this. I got to know more about this. You come into this podcast studio listening to an episode of The Simpsons, and I got to know more.
That's correct. Well, let's take a deep dive into the brain.
This is a good icebreaker.
Yeah.
That's a good way to show up to any social situation.
Yeah, actually.
Simpsons on your phone?
Yeah.
No, I'm listening to it.
Yeah, in general, too. Like, in any social situation, if you don't know people and stuff, they're going to know right off the bat what kind of human you are. Okay, you're one of the people of the generation that you can just watch The Simpsons from seasons 1 through 10-ish. But then there's the next level up, which is I listen to The Simpsons seasons 1 through 10-ish.
I mean, I can do that a little bit. Like, I'll throw on, if you throw on The Office at night or one of those shows you've seen a bunch, like you can just shut your eyes and listen to it.
Correct. And I don't have to deal with the incessant glow of television. So
can you play a little bit more? I want to get a taste.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let me see if I can.
This is us. Let's see. I'm currently on a run of season 8, episode 17.
Shoulder surgery,
in Spotify, it just shows a picture of The Simpsons.
Gotcha.
But first,
Dude,
move over Baltimore.
That's perfect.
Has
Yeah.
stolen your ID.
And sometimes I like forget what I'm doing, and like I was just listening to it in the shower. And like I got out of the shower and I wanted to see the scene, and I turn on my phone. I'm like, oh right, audio only. Like I'm not watching it on Disney Plus or anything. So,
wow.
But it's okay. It's good.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Podcast, nah. Music, who cares?
Yeah.
Simpsons, yeah, but still a little much. I don't know. All the visuals. I hate animation. But
right.
I love a good voice acting demonstration.
Well, listen, when you've seen a show as many times, especially like a sitcom, when you've seen a show so many times, you don't need the visual. You know what's happening. You know the characters, even when they're one-off characters and stuff. Like you realize it's scary because you realize how little you need the visual. I bet you could be totally content listening in a drive, and I've done this on a drive, listening to Dumb and Dumber, the movie.
Yeah.
You would literally not lose anything by taking away the visual. And
you still say it like half a second before it even comes out, like you're saying it in your head or doing the monologue of it. I've learned growing up to be 40 that girls, girlfriends, just people in general love when you say what's happening in the movie. You quote the movie just before it happens.
Everyone loves it. Who doesn't?
Love it. Yeah. Let's go.
I've confused my priorities. Isn't it supposed to come to me? Yes, this is how it's meant to be. Every little thing flashing on a screen.
Age of convenience. Age of convenience. Age of convenience.
My daddy worked hard for this.
You got a jam on your shirt too, huh? Too many cooks. I forgot about that.
Yeah, man. Oh, for those that
was like what, 5-6 years ago. That was
at least
spicy internet vid for a
creepy
weeks.
Adult Swim stuff.
Yeah.
It's Adult Swim stuff that like just it's genius. It's hilarious. It's terrible. It's garbage. Like I don't know. I don't know what it is. But if you're not familiar with Too Many Cooks, folks,
Too Many Cooks.
Look it up on YouTube. It's gonna start.
I can pull it up right now. I mean, we don't have to go through because the joke is that it goes so long, it's ridiculous.
That's true,
honestly.
And to try to describe it really, actually, is completely.
We can get. It's going to fall short of it.
Okay,
probably. I don't want to get
based on the research that we've done for copyrights, which is non-existent.
So it basically starts off like a Full House song. I mean, everybody probably knows this at this point.
90s sitcom that's making fun of ABC's like TGIF type shows.
Yeah, we'll just show. How about this? Share video, share screen, top notch technology. Let's go.
Have the spice. I just love to make it nice, and you got too many cooks, too many cooks. Too many cooks,
But then it keeps going, and there's like people in like every walk of life. Like, commercials, great. All right,
well.
but check it out. It's pretty good.
Do us a
Pretty
solid.
ridiculous.
Check out Too Many Cooks.
Worth a t-shirt.
And let us know on the Facebook page or comment somewhere, find us, and let us know what your thoughts are. If you've never seen Too Many Cooks, I want you to check it out on YouTube. Sit down, watch the whole thing, and then let us know what your thoughts are.
And you are maintaining your staunch record of having t-shirts of the smallest niche items in life. So
yeah, this one was actually bought for me. So
yeah, actually, do you buy any of your own shirts? I feel like every store you have, somebody bought you the t-shirt.
Yeah, no. This is actually a repeat offender. This is my older brother Brian bought me this shirt. Him and my sister-in-law Kristen, because I showed them the video, and naturally, as expected, I showed them and Caitlin the video at the same time. So we had a test pool of 3. And if you can believe it, Bri enjoyed it, and the girls thought I was insane. And I'm like, oh, yeah, well, that was to be expected. That's about the ratio that I thought I was going to get. But they humored me and bought me a shirt for it. So
I think I'm going to buy you a shirt that says "Too many t-shirts."
Oh, what? This guy, Johnny Jokes over here. Yeah, so I do. I try to make sure that I am being conscious though of not wearing the same shirt on the podcast. If you're gonna wear a graphic tee, I got to switch it up.
Does Caitlin have an opinion on your t-shirt obsession? I mean, is that like what you wear in your daily life?
I mean, it's tough because so when I'm on camera for my work at home job, so I try to maintain a sense of professional. So I just have a plethora of colored polos. Like polos are just easier than buying even like button down pattern shirts. So I just try to have a plethora of colors of polos because you can repeat them a little bit more recently and no one cares and no one remembers because you're just wearing plain colors. So outside of that,
a brand, a style. I mean, do you go like the Under Armour? Do you have the old like 1990s, like the big heavy cotton like knit polos?
No, it's I'm a Sonomo guy from Kohl's mostly. It's
Kohl's,
easy,
hell yeah,
easy peasy, man.
Get those points.
Get those Kohl's cash, rack them up, slop them up, slop up those steaks. They can tell you not to order sloppy steaks, but they can't prevent you from ordering steaks in water.
Ooh.
It's a little inside joke.
I think you should leave. Yeah, put that on a shirt.
Also, pattern shirts.
Dan Slashes. Yeah. I'm very excited for the new I Think You Should Leave. I'm going to pre-recommend that already.
Wow, a pre-rec. We have never seen that.
Good.
It's a recommendation with someone that doesn't even know what they're recommending technically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we forgot in the last episode
to roll dice.
Yes. So I wanted to try something new. Let's turn this into an adventure. Let's go on a journey. Let's try something new in the interest of growth. I found the random word generator on the internet.
Oh.
So we're going to do that.
This is 2023, folks. No more are we using manual dice like savages. No. We've got sponsors. We don't have sponsors. But if we had sponsors, we would have upgraded. We're embracing the AI world.
Share the screen.
A word generator.
Random word generator. Boom. All right.
3 words. Too many.
So 3 words. Could you imagine? All right. I probably have a drum roll thing on this thing. Do I? That would have been... Here we go.
Wow.
Display. Gregarious. Convulsion. These are truly random.
Wow. Convulsion.
Have you ever had a convulsion? I don't think I ever have.
I mean, yeah. All right. Truth be told, if you told me, Jeff, act out a convulsion, I'd probably give you an idea of what I'm doing, but I don't know if it's like a seizure. I don't know the actual medical occurrence of what a convulsion is. Is a convulsion just simply symptomatic? Like, is that a symptom of something else?
Yeah. I mean, I can think of like wretched vomiting.
Right. Like I'm just like shaking and vomiting. I'm like, am I doing this right? But I've never had that. So I doubt I've had a convulsion if you're to answer the original question.
I can't think of one. I mean, that's probably good.
Yeah. I mean,
I can think of like, have you ever had, okay. When I first moved to Texas twice, and it's
When I
never
first
happened
moved to
again.
Texas twice.
This twice happened when I first moved to Texas.
Thank you.
There we go. I got food poisoning
Ooh.
one time, and then it happened again like 3 months later, which is like that's a great call in work. That's on par with the dead grandmas. I got food poisoning. I think like I've had people call. I think I have food poisoning. I shouldn't come in. It's like no, you have food poisoning because I had it, and like it happened, and I would never wish it upon anybody else in my life because my girlfriend that I was living with all of a sudden started throwing up and shitting. Couldn't decide which one to do. It was like, oh god, I felt so bad for her.
Oh yeah,
And I
you
was
got to
like,
go
what
to
could
the
have
got to.
happened?
Oh my God, here we're like 4 for 4 on last
Yeah, let's
podcast with
get it
pooping
going.
stories.
Let's get it going.
But you got to do the sit on the toilet and have a trash can with you.
Yeah,
It's the only way to do it.
yeah. But she was sick. It started at like 6 o'clock in the evening. I think we had just traveled, so it was like could have been some roadway food, and it was.
Hey, God bless
I
you
was like,
making
oh my
home.
god, I'm so sorry. And I was like, well, we ate the same thing. How did I get so lucky? And then sure enough, at midnight, 6 hours later, she's like through her first phase. And all of a sudden I'm like, and fortunately we had 2 bathrooms. If I was with her in the bathroom and I'm like, oh no,
Something's happening.
So I had to run to the other bathroom and I just started puking. We were each in our own bathroom like all night, just puking,
Wow.
shitting. And it was so terrible. And just weak, just dehydrated, pain. So I think that's as much. I thought I was going to sprout wings, like just the violent, like
yeah, it's the montage
like,
part after Act 1 in a movie where like the hero or anti-hero starts changing.
Yeah, or like it's like the Team America, which is like seems like a hyperbolic vomit scene, which is it was just totally real. It was happening, and just like I don't even remember. Like 24 hours later, we're basically both dead. And
it lasted that long?
Oh yeah, easily. Like
that's
at least
terrifying.
Probably 16 hours.
That's terrifying. I don't like.
I mean,
that
I wouldn't say it was like violently. I mean, probably 12 hours of puking, but then just totally dead, tired, dehydrated. And all we're doing is watching TV. And somehow you never realize it until you know you have food poisoning. All there is food commercials on TV. And I was like, I'm never going to eat again in my life. I can't. I won't. Like, and it's just Domino's pizza. It's Taco Bell.
And everything looks
kind of
terrifying.
Food. Yeah. And then finally, then the next day, we were just drinking water. I don't know if we ate anything. We might have tried to have like a bouillon cube or something like that.
Why do you just have bouillon cubes laying around?
She did. I mean,
a culinary.
Not my design. Yeah. And then the next morning, I think I had the most strength to like get up. So I went to our HEB, Herbert E. Butt grocery store to get Pedialyte. And I'm telling you, dude, just zombie walking. Like, it's one of those, like, it's kind of like if you've ever like stayed up all night and then drive home in the morning and you see people going to work at 6 a.m. and you just haven't slept. I don't know if that's happened to you, but you're just like, I can't believe the world is still happening.
Yeah, you feel like this
me.
isn't, you're like a bystander in the actual world that's happening, but you're still in last night.
You're just watching the movie of the world. And I just remember like just shuffling down the baby aisle to find Pedialyte and getting it. I mean, and it probably lasted just the total weakness and sickness like 48 hours.
Is it like a movie? So this is how I imagine it, is that you walk up with a couple of Pedialytes to the express lane. The cashier, honestly, probably about in her, it's a female cashier about in her like mid early 40s, like looks up as you approach. You put the Pedialytes down. She's like, "Good morning, sir." Like shuddered like her voice, and you're just staring at her and you just go, She scans the Pedialyte. She tells you the total, and you just pull out this crimped, like $10 bill that kind of has some dried puke on it, and just slap it on the ground, and then just take the Pedialytes and walk away. And she's like, "Here's your check," and you've already shuffled out the door. Was it exactly like that?
Happened. That was exactly what happened.
All right, cool. We should get those security tapes.
And I mean, it was brutal. And then it happened again to us like 3 months later, and it's never happened again. So when people casually call in with food poisoning, I'm like, you can't just say that because it's devastating.
Yeah, that
if you have it.
Man, what if it wasn't like an HR situation? Just be like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
The way you sound, I know you don't. You have a bellyache.
I can tell you don't because you made a phone call and said words.
Right, yeah. I noticed the way you got out some words without vomiting. I call your bluff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the closest to convulsing I've ever had, and
Okay.
I'm very, I got this in the mail the other day. Not a big deal, but I am now in the National Registry of Food Safety Professionals, a food safety certified manager.
Wow, big day.
95, got a 95 on that, so that'll last. I got that for. It's good for 5 years, so I'm
Good.
very, very sensitive to food safety now, and have
Good.
been.
That's
I don't
important.
eat food that's been out of the fridge for like more than
Mhm.
12 hours anymore,
Mhm.
or off the floor. I barely use anybody else's spoon anymore, so run a tight ship.
You know, it's awesome that you have that license, because that's such an obscure license that a lot of people in the professional world, and looking at you, LinkedIn, where everyone is just like, do you want to know how professional I am? Like all these people that you got blackout drunk with in college and have
Yeah.
done horrible things on LinkedIn. It's like so prim and polished. But like everyone has their like designations, even though no one has any idea what the designation is. I
Yeah.
want you to slap on a
bunch of
designation onto
letters.
your signature that
Yeah.
represents. And if someone asks like, oh, what's that? Be like, well, I actually recently achieved my certification in food safety and
Does it
management.
have letters on it? I don't even know if it's
Yeah,
I'm
if
a
not, man,
FSM,
go put whatever you want.
food safety manager. What I really need to do, so certified CFSM.
There you
And
go.
what I really need to do is, I don't know if you can tell it's perforated, but this is the
You
wallet
get
size.
you're
that
a
I'm gonna wanna
card
put.
carrier.
I'm gonna want to put that in my wallet. Yeah, laminate
Yeah.
it.
Put it maybe, but you know what? I think that's to the prestige of put it behind the old license. You get pulled over and you hand that over.
For you, officer?
You hand that over with the license, really discreet. He's like, "Oh, sorry, Mr. Jones, as you were."
Yeah, it's like the police whatever booster sticker on the back
There
of
you
the
go.
car. Just put the
Yep,
certified
food safety manager.
Mm-hmm.
So just a thought, man. It's only as prestigious as you allow it to be. So
I'm gonna milk it for a little while.
Wear that badge. Maybe put something up outside your house. Is there a light bulb? You know how like the police supporters put blue light bulbs outside on their porches? Is there a color for certified food safety manager support?
Mm-hmm. I have one of those signs that this home it has a certified food safety manager residing in it.
Yeah. On the plane, they're like, "Is there a doctor on the plane?" You're like, well, I am a certified food safety manager. Do you need assistance?
Yeah.
Can I help with anything?
My renter, my landlord says our leasee is a certified food safety manager. Little picture, headshot.
Yeah, I think your landlord actually gets like a tax break because of it.
You should.
Mm-hmm.
I digress.
I don't even know what I'm digressing
Have you ever been
off of.
gregarious?
I'm always gregarious. Are you kidding me?
You are, probably.
I am a personable and social person. I will be honest with you folks that as we've talked, I do have I live with anxiety that flares all the time, and it's weird because you can be completely a people person and sociable, but be terribly anxious about that same concept, because I want to meet people and talk to people, but I have a horrible anxiety that they don't want to meet and talk to me. So it's tough. Every time is like you're throwing up a Hail Mary and being like, boy, I hope this catches. And you can fail. You can fail at being sociable, meaning not just you don't act sociable, it's you try to be sociable and people don't receive it. It is a two-way street to be a people person. And sometimes you just you end up in a crowd that doesn't give a shit who you are or who you want to talk to, and you just feel so awkward. But that goes through a valley. But then sometimes I like to come back and fight back against that valley and still be really sociable, even though I'm fully well aware they want nothing to do with me. Because then I win in the end, because then I'm making them uncomfortable. And so I'm like, haha, we'll see who's going to be uncomfortable in this exchange. So that's a lot of work things. I'll be the first person that reaches out, and there's an uncomfortability to a lot of it, but you know what? It's worth it. I enjoy being sociable. It's
Do you get the especially for being gregarious, like I think a lot of it, especially if it's new folks, it's kind of like, when do you dive into being yourself? Because I think part of gregariousness is it's acting. A lot of the times is just being a person, or trying to, like, you can be a little bit of yourself, but you're like, I gotta gauge this, but then at one point, are you like, I just got to be myself. I'm going to reference The Simpsons right now. I'm going to tell people I listened to audio files of the Simpsons. How far into the conversation or interactions can you be yourself?
It
Do you think?
it
Or are you
does
okay
it
with it?
does it does depend on the setting. I used to be so much more Jeff Light, we'll call it, work Jeff, which was obviously a very modified version of myself. But now what I choose to do is I like to push the envelope with I like to open up quicker than later, because honestly, it puts the other person on the spot. You don't like it, that's fine. I mean, but it's a lot easier for me to not put on airs. And so I the older I get, and I think this is with everyone, even people that aren't horribly sociable. I mean, I think we're all this way. It's like the older I get, the less I give a shit about about
It
like
is, yeah, an
stepping
age
on
thing, yeah.
toes. Like the more you're just like it doesn't like whatever. But I don't think I'm putting on terrible airs as in like I'm expressing stuff that I don't believe and everything like that. I'm more likely to shave off wackiness as opposed to like just straight up lying, because like that doesn't benefit, because
Oh
that'll come
yeah,
back and
yeah,
bite you in the ass. So
Mhm.
like I like people, so like I don't have to worry about being like, boy, I hope they don't find out I'm a racist. Like that's got to be really weird for like people that are horrible pieces of shit
yeah,
to like be really nice for like months, and then all of a sudden like you start opening up, but the shit you're opening up about is really
yeah,
awkwardly opinionated, and people are like, well, this guy used to be cool, but what the hell is he talking about now? Like
yeah.
that's
You're
got to be
like, yeah.
really weird.
Oh, you guys are you guys should see the flags I have at home. I didn't realize that you guys were like me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, yeah, we all like The Simpsons. We talk about sports, blah, 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 blah. Here's this horrible stuff I'm into. And then everyone's like,
yeah,
the hell? Like, those people are out there and you work with some of them.
Mhm.
And it's weird. It's really weird when people have really strong opinions. I'm not going to, well, I don't want to get too far into this, but I mean, people can have different opinions on stuff and I can get along with them, especially in a work environment. It's like, all
yeah,
right, I guess I turn this into we're civil work people, and don't have to butt heads. But yeah, it's really weird. And if it's a friend, you're like, all right, what do we do from here? Like if you find out someone that you're like really enjoy on a personal level and maybe even like spend time with them and stuff like that, and then like they like throw a curveball of like belief systems and stuff at you
yeah,
that like is really awkward, you're like, all right, I guess do I have a decision to make? Am I at a
yeah.
crossroads, or can I just roll this fucking rock down the street until we die and I never address it? I usually go for the second one. But
I've had that at work, and it's like, or in areas of life where it's like, well, I don't want to say it, but like those people, and I'm like, but you just said it. Like, I
yeah,
know
you
what you
do
mean.
want to
Just
say
use
it.
those
You
words.
so
That's
wanted
like,
to say it.
yeah, words. You can communicate with using different words. I know what you're saying, and I don't really want to like. I don't know. This is probably the end of our friendly interactions or opening up. Like,
But like that's when you don't have enough interest, to be honest with you. Because like if
yeah, oh
that's
yeah,
what
for
you
sure.
eventually have to revert to is be like, you want to know what my political stance is? You're like, whoa. Especially if
Yeah,
it's something that comes with like you tearing down something else. Like that's really weird. And in all fairness, in the grand scheme of things, liberal people have the benefit of the doubt, because usually it's pro-social things. So it's like more supportive stuff. Whereas like if you're conservative, you don't really get that edge, because if you're going to explain it one way or the other, it's like, how do I put this gently? I dislike these people. It's like, oh, like, oh, you don't like a whole demographic? Oh, that's fucking weird. Like, yeah, why'd you think I wanted to
no,
hear
I
that?
like. There's a few that I like. That are on TV. Like, he's pretty good. Like that, they're like they'll no, I know, like no, because there's this one guy I work with, and he's all right. Like,
Yeah, we learn about those at in work settings too. Is like, you're like, it's not okay. And this might sound crazy to some people. It's not okay to be like, you know what, you're really well spoken, to
yeah,
say
one of
to like
those.
someone who's part of multiple minority groups. You're like, yeah,
Yeah,
you're not supposed to say that. Why? Because you're
yeah,
saying in comparison,
yeah,
like that's still really fucking weird.
yeah.
So that's my gregarious part. And I
You
already
are
forgot what the third word.
gregarious.
Yeah.
Well, I've started to with like I don't know, like I would say it takes me a little longer to like remove my shell, but once I do, I kind of just lean into it. Even now, like at work, since I got promoted a couple of months ago, like now my work cohort is like the store management, and so it
Like
takes a while to
your peer set.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it takes a while. I mean, not. I mean, they're really open because they all know each other. A lot of them have worked together for decades, and I'm coming in. They sort of know me, but not really. Now I'm just I
Question: do
what
you gauge yourself? Do you start with the crowd closest to your age and then branch out from there? I feel like that's a tendency
it
for
can,
anyone.
but there's not a lot of. I mean, I would say the store managers are my age, kind of. Like, actually, I'm
Okay.
older than one of them because they. I mean, they just been there for a long time.
Yeah.
So that's why it kind of makes it easier. So in a way, yes.
Yeah. So
It
yeah,
makes it easier.
you're a weird one for Wegmans. You
Mhm.
weren't bred
I'm
into
an
Wegmans.
outsider.
You weren't a
I'm an outsider.
16-year-old that never left Wegmans, because Wegmans starts their cult. They branch out early. And it's, how do you
Yeah.
get into Wegmans? You know someone, like, it's a lot of cult things there.
Yeah, I didn't realize when I came in I was an outsider. So it was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it was
Freak.
like, oh, hired an exterior. It's like, what? I mean, I was like, oh shit, and it even said it on like the hiring thing, like exterior hire. And I was like,
Yes.
oh,
He's not a
I'm freak.
normie.
Yeah.
He's not one of us.
But I've worked my way in, and now I just say, now I'm like perfectly comfortable. I do have a lot of self-deprecating humor now about just being alone and not
Always
having
a
a
good one.
partner, kind of thing.
Sure.
So it'll be like, hey, what'd you do this week? Nothing. Like, nobody loves me. I mean, I don't say it like that, but that's like the gist of it. Like, I just I work alone, or I'll be like they'll be talking about like going out, be like, hey, oh yeah, we got to go out to like Swabbies or whatever. It's like, hey, you guys, you just know you should hang out with like, what's his name from the Auburn store, Matt. And it took him a second, and they were like, what? Wait, you? I was like, and they, they loved it, and they were like, it took him a second, but now I'm just like super dry. The other day we were talking about like maybe preparing overnight dinner, like steak and potatoes and stuff for them. They can take them. So we can get like potatoes, baked potatoes. Like, yeah, you make microwave. We'll give them potatoes. You can microwave. It's like, yeah, you can microwave anything. And then I was like, yeah, and actually, you can have steaks. I have this book at home. It's called Microwaving for One, and it shows you how to microwave a steak. And they were just like,
did they believe you?
A couple people laughed, and one of the guys was like, "That's the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life." I was like,
"You're good." So it hit, but it didn't hit in the right tone.
Yeah. I was like, but it does. So it's like, but that's kind of like my style. I mean, I like to. I don't know. I'm always looking for maybe the thing that nobody would say, or maybe nobody's heard yet, and that brings me joy. Like, that's what I can contribute to a social setting. That's like the extent of my gregariousness. Like, I don't know, and it doesn't always land. I'll tell you, it doesn't.
100%. If you're gonna, dude,
yeah,
if you're gonna shoot your shot, that's great. But even Steph Curry misses those shots every once in a while. Like, that's the reality of it. Is it's
I'm
not
like
everything's gonna hit.
Hall of Fame hitter. All I got to do is hit 300.
Right. If 3 out of my 10 things that I think are funny in my head hit, that's gold.
Yeah, a lot of strikeouts, but still, once in a while, I mean, a couple of home runs. But it takes. I mean, I'm introverted by nature, which some people get surprised by, because I can definitely do the social situations and have fun with it and put on the persona, but it just sucks so much energy from me that then I won't hang out probably for like weeks after that. Like, sometimes even with my family, I have to tell them, like, if it's a busy week at work or a lot's been going on, a lot of people interaction, I'm like, I can't. Like, I just need to recharge my like battery. Like, because if I don't have that time for myself, then I won't be happy. But then also, unfortunately, like, if I'm feeling not happy because of that, like, the back of my brain subconscious wants other people to not be happy too. So I'll be like, snippy,
start
or like
sabotaging stuff
with people, or like, like,
you'll sabotage your own social interactions,
or I won't want other people to be happy. And for some reason, it's like, well, if they're making me do this, or if I got to go do this thing, then I'm not going to enjoy it, and they're not either. Kind of thing. Like,
I have to.
Sometimes.
Do I have
such
to?
An asshole. No, but it's like, I attribute it strictly to just that battery being depleted and not having the energy for it. And I think in any situation where you don't have energy, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, like, you're not your best self, and I'm not my best self. So I mean, I've learned to over time just be honest and be like, I mean, I'll tell my family or whatever. It's just I can't. Like I'm not going to come over today, or I can't. I know we were going to, but I can't because I just don't have like the energy for it today. And they're like, okay, because otherwise, who wants that? Who wants to hang out with somebody that is a bummer? And I can be that, and I hate it, but I don't want to. Now I don't want to bring it on somebody else.
Yeah. Well, self-awareness.
Yeah, right.
Self-awareness. There's points for that.
I don't want to display my asshole side. The side of my asshole.
There's somewhere that's a better way of saying that. Then you shouldn't videotape yourself so much.
Assholes and fruit jelly. XXX. I'm gonna start it.
Yeah, it's called a callback. So yeah, good job. Nailed it. Even that clap is awkwardly long. That lasted like a second and a half longer than I thought it was. What did we have a third word?
It was display. Ooh, here's one. Do you collect anything? Do you have collectibles? Do you have like pop figures, vinyl? You have like one item or one genre of collectible?
One genre, and it's really already in connection with what we've talked about, my baseball tour. So I literally have a mini bat from every single park I've been to. And I have a display. I have a display case, and I put them in chronological order of when I visited the park. So I buy a bat from every home game I've been to, and then I just display them. And that's literally the only collectible thing I own. I literally collect nothing else, and I never have really. Yeah, I always felt like I was behind the gun. Well, when I was younger, I didn't have the interests that were standard collectible stuff. Like I was never a baseball card kid or anything like that. So like sports cards never were my thing. I probably could have collected stuff started in like middle school and high school, but I didn't really have any interest that I knew how to line up with collecting things. Like I liked movies and music, but I didn't know, there was nothing that came to me of what I should collect within that genre. Those are really my only big interests. And then I never kind of got into anything. Collecting always seemed very overwhelming to me. Like, how do you start being a collector? That just sounds terrifying.
Well, do you like prescribe a certain amount of nostalgia or feeling to physical things much?
To physical things?
Yeah, like items or like, I mean, do you like, I got to keep this for the sentimentality?
No, I have one of those items. I have there was a photograph that was hanging on the patio wall of my grandfather's, my mom's dad, in their patio. Growing up as a kid, it always made me think of their house. And so when my grandpa passed away and my grandparents were getting rid of their house, the kids and grandkids were just kind of going into the house, and people were kind of figuring out what stuff wanted. My parents asked if I wanted anything. I go, yeah, I want the picture of the aircraft carrier that grandpa was on from the patio. I'm like, it's the only thing I want. And so I got that. It's hanging in my basement as part of like my hangout room, hanging on the wall. And that's literally like the piece of sentiment that I can think of that I have. And that's literally it. Nothing from my own childhood, nothing physically. There's nothing I really hang on to with a physical aspect to it.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty legit sentimentality though.
Yeah,
like, I mean,
yeah.
There's people that have that for like pop figures and stuff. I can't get rid of these. Like I got this one 6 years ago, and I've seen it. Especially when I worked at the Half Price Books, it was called, in Texas, where we mentioned it before, but we bought like toys and figures too from the public, and some people it's so hard to get rid of them. Like it's like I had
like did you see like the emotion
box.
like when you're having the transaction? Or like it was intense?
Especially because we don't offer that much for them. Again, because we were the middleman and we would resell them.
Right, you're here to make a profit.
Yeah. And also, pop figures are pretty ubiquitous. It's not like, I mean, you can go online and find stuff.
They were generation 2 of Beanie Babies with just a little bit less of a lie.
Yeah. And I would say I would have like, I remember in high school when episode 1 Star Wars came out, I got really into, I got to collect all this shit. I had like the Pepsi cans.
Oh,
I had, like the figures, like some of this shit, or I would get some of the, like, go to like whatever.
I think I
restaurants
remember
have
you having the
toys.
Pepsi cans
Yeah,
lined up
yeah.
in your bedroom.
Stupid, because I also didn't open, because I can't open them, because then the can will be
Compromised.
diminished.
Yeah.
Compromised.
Sure.
So instead, I'll just leave soda in these cans for 3 years, and when I come back from college, they'll have leaked through.
I was gonna say, and good thing
chest,
temperature fluctuation, it doesn't have any effect.
And guess what? They were worthless anyway. It doesn't matter. But, and I had hockey cards, but I think, especially, I moved a few times when I was in Texas, and remember my first move where I like boxed stuff up, and I was like, I just can't hold on to this stuff anymore. And it was sort of like the Marie Kondo rule, tidying up, but I hadn't even read it yet. It was just occurred to me, like, going through stuff when you're packing is like, I didn't remember that I had this. Like, do I really care about it if I haven't seen this thing in a year? Or even, it was more my rules, like, I haven't even thought about this thing in a year. And the only time I ever see it is when I move and packing, and I go, huh, yeah, that was neat.
Better hang on to this.
It's like, so it'd be like whatever, like concert bracelets from like Bonnaroo, or like, I would hold on to that stuff, or like, I had physical pictures for a long time, or pieces of technology, or whatever, little trinkets, toys, just random stuff in boxes. And for some reason, I thought it was like an identifier of me. It was just who I am. Like, I need to display all this stuff. And then eventually, when you wheel down to just a few boxes, or like when I did the garage sale before I moved out here, it's like, it does take a load off. So I don't really necessarily even have that. I mean, I do have a couple things. Actually, they're near me. I do have 2 pop figures. I've only, in my life, I never was going to be a pop guy, but I got.
See, but I think that's the better process, is have a pop that you like.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine.
They just came through the store one day when I was like, I don't know, I'll get a couple pop figures. And these were like, you can definitely notice who they are, because some pop figures come through and they're like, I can't tell who that is. All the faces look the same. But these were, I was like,
oh, nice.
Pretty obvious. Yeah, it's Wayne and Garth. Pretty obvious, Wayne's World. And as you can tell, I took them out of the box. I bought them.
What
and
a
wanted
rebel.
and as many people. I wanted as many people to know. I did it in the store. I just ripped the box open. They're really breaking people's hearts. Let them breathe.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are suffocating in here.
Yeah. I mean, pops.
Then I can fight with them now.
What are those?
Do
you have a ring that you can put them in, like an old WWF ring? What was I gonna say? What do pops cost? Like, when they're new?
$10,
okay,
$14. I don't know. There's probably, there's got to be some that are exclusives. You get them at Comic-Con. There's probably some that are like $40 to start out. But I mean, if you just get a generic,
I'm saying you find in Target, like, you find one in Target or GameStop,
$10 to $20 probably, depending on who it is.
No, I mean, it's interesting because it's incredible. I think, like, what I'm fascinated by is the fact that they just get the company pop, like, or Funko, right? Funko would be the company that their networking of just being able to convince so many entities of getting the license to make their product is amazing to me. But it makes sense because they're not lifelike or anything. They're wonky, generic replicas. So, like, the company doesn't have to worry about, like, infringement of any sort, because it's like, I'm just making this weird looking doll with the concept of whatever character. But, like, you're seeing, like, The Office and Marvel and, like, everything under the sun has a Funko Pop. And so I think it's an amazing market, like, brilliant marketing strategy, and I'm sure the company's made money off it. But it's such an easy thing to become a collector on, because there's everything under the sun. Shout out to my buddy Dan in Rochester, who had a massive Funko collection, and then realized he was in over his head with it, and organized a, like, Pops for Kids thing and donates them to, like, the children's hospitals and stuff like that. So there is some goodness in that. So, obviously giving them to little kids, it's like if you had a foul ball collection. Like, my big thing is when you go to a baseball game and you see an adult catch a foul ball, like a 40-year-old man sprint over 7 sections to push a 12-year-old out of the way to catch a foul ball in the middle of the third by the guy who got called up from AAA. AKA, for those non-sports fans, it's a useless pile of crap. It's just a baseball.
Yeah.
But they're like, I got a souvenir. I'm like, give it
It's
to the
signed by
child.
Baby Ruth.
It doesn't matter. Oh, a little Sandlot reference. But like, it's not valuable. Like, give it to a kid. The kid is going to enjoy that right now.
Dude, doesn't
for
that
this
make
moment.
you so mad when people
More
you
than-
see it on TV?
Yeah.
Like, people catch a ball and they keep it.
Right.
They'll give it to
A guy,
kid. It's
like an
who
a
cares?
grown man catches the ball and you see a dejected kid. Give it to the child. That ball means nothing to you. Oh, I'm going to bring it home and give it to my kid. Your kid doesn't care. He's not even at the game.
Shut up! You're killing me, Smalls.
Dude, it's brutal.
It is.
I mean, I would, from events, actually, I'll show you the only, so there's two other things I've carried with me through time. One of them, I mowed a lot of lawns and I earned it. And I've kept it because I'm a big gamer nerd, but I still have it over here on my thing. This I still keep in the box. I brought it with me everywhere.
You have your
Original
N64,
Nintendo 64,
but
in
like
box.
in the
Yeah.
box?
Yeah. Like I've had so many people offer to like buy this from me.
That's
I just can't.
that's
I
wild.
just want it. I'm not keeping it to sell it. I'm keeping it because I love it and I want it. And it's like, I just,
Yo,
it's
I
all about
didn't.
being in the, yeah. I mean,
You know
I know
what?
you
We're-
had one, obviously. We played a lot at your place.
We're a dying
So you
breed.
got whatever this
We're a
was.
dying breed. I think that concept's a dying breed, Matthew. Like, I did the same thing as, so N64, I think, if I'm recalling correctly, came out in August or September of 96, I think.
Somewhere around
But my point of it is that I didn't want to try and even, because I knew that it was a hot item. And so I didn't even want to try to wait until Christmas to hope to get one. I took all my paper delivery money and I'm like, I remember going to my parents because my money was in the bank and I needed them to take me to the bank to make a withdrawal. So I had to like review this transaction with them. I'm like,
withdrawal slip.
Yeah. I'm like,
Oh.
I want to take the money I've earned and I want to buy myself an N64. I don't want it for Christmas because I want it and I want it now. And I don't want to risk that you guys aren't getting one. And they're like, all right, if that's what you want to do. So yeah, I bought my N64 and I'm like, yo, this is what's up. Like I was so thrilled, proud of myself for like saving the money. Like, and then it was also too, because it was like my mom kind of knew what's up and it was like, all right, if the brothers want to play N64, you have to ask Jeff. Like that's Jeff's N64. Like, and I kept it obviously on the family TV downstairs because I wanted to play it on the larger TV in the basement.
Yeah.
But like, and I never said like, oh, you have to ask me and stuff. But like my mom would drop that every once in a while and be like, it's Jeff's video game. Like this is Jeff's. It's not shared by the brothers. So I was like, yo, it is mine. But yeah, man, I hear
we play on here. We just play in your bedroom though too, on your little tiny like dresser TV.
Oh yeah,
like Wave Race on Mario Kart, the tiniest tube TV.
Honestly, yeah. How are you playing a 4-player like split screen on a tiny ass TV? It blows my mind.
It's all we knew.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember. I mean, I still have some. I mean, I wish. I don't know. We don't really need the boxes, but yeah, we got the Mario cartridge, the blue Tony Hawk cartridge, obviously and some of the all-timers, the GoldenEye
and Ocarina
of Time. Very pumped for Tears of the Kingdom to come out. Doing another playthrough of Breath of the Wild right now. Yeah. Times are good for Nintendo. But yeah, I've had that, and the other thing was I don't even know, it's somewhere, I don't know if it's on that bookshelf, but at Bonnaroo 2008.
Rest in peace. Bonnaroo just got canceled this week.
Like
Bonnaroo 2023 was supposed to happen, and it just got canceled this week.
Why? Really?
Yeah, they couldn't get the permits in Jersey.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, no. This is the one that was in Manchester, Tennessee. Do they have I thought, is there something else Bonnaroo?
Oh, there was a big announcement
so
that
Bonnaroo
in Jersey
was one
was
in
supposed
Tennessee.
To be in June.
Oh, maybe they were
and that got canceled.
But yeah, saw Metallica. We were pretty far into the crowd, and one James Hetfield tosses a guitar pick out, hits my girlfriend in the forehead, and falls to the ground. She goes down. She's looking for it. I just remember her. She's like, "I got it." She got it, and then she gave it to me because she was awesome.
It was literally like, did she have a moment where she held it up like Charlie with the golden ticket, and then someone grabs her wrist?
she was like two-handed, like
Did like she meet
but
with
you just
Slugworth
like,
offered
toss
her
it
shit
out
in the back
and go,
alley for it? Like,
right? I mean, they toss out a bunch of pics, but this
doesn't
is
matter.
one, yeah.
It's
But
Metallica.
it
Doesn't
just, I
matter.
remember because she was
Principle
just
is
like, what? Just like looks down and yeah, it's got like his face says JH on it. So I've carried that with me for
my
like,
eye. I'm
somewhere
not
in my
supposed to
house.
get guitar picks in it.
But yeah, but that's probably one of the coolest things. I mean, I've gotten like from a Metallica show, they used to do these like inflatable balls and stuff like beach balls, and I've had some of those, but I've gotten rid of those over time. Like even like I had the Metallica set up, the one like McFarlane toy stage set up, and I don't have that anymore. It's like even that,
I
as much
remember
as it was
you had
as
that.
cool
Yeah.
as it was, I was like, I don't need to keep packing this up and moving it.
Yep.
Really, it's like I don't need them, and it's and then you realize like it's not the toys,
It's the
it's
memories.
the friends you made along the way.
It's the memories.
But yeah, it's like ultimately I just like the music and it's on my phone now, so
Right.
I can
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
I can.
You don't have to.
I in that vein though. Before I left, I think maybe I brought it up. But before I left Austin, I sold I remember I collected all those Metallica CDs, like singles, imports, all those in high
Yeah.
school, and I had them in a CD book. I sold that CD book for $5 at a garage sale. Like it's just like I dumped probably like
There you go.
$600 into those CDs, and I was like, I don't use them anymore. It's like, I mean, that's how you can get detached from it,
Yeah. And I think you feel like you're doing it wrong if you let go of stuff. And I think that's the fear people have. I don't think they actually want them. It's they think that getting rid of them is like you're doing a disservice to something or someone, and you're not. Like, I think that's the part is people are afraid of like their own perception of themselves as being like, oh, you bailed on this. You've changed, man. Like doing that to yourself. And it's not what it is. So,
yeah, like, and it's, because if you, let's say for whatever reason, you lost that aircraft carrier picture,
right.
It'd be a bummer, but it wouldn't change the way that you feel about your family
Right.
or your grandfather.
No.
Ultimately, it's like, it's nice to have it, but you don't need it to remember him or like the house or any of that stuff. I mean, it's just nice. It's nice to have it.
Yeah, people have different stuff. People have different extents of stuff, and everyone's going to have a different perception of their physical items that remind them of different things, and it's going to take some people longer to try to work out of that. Some people want to work out of it, some people don't. So it's a weird dynamic, but yeah, I'm just not. I think it boils down to, as I try to remember too, is that like maybe I'm just not a physically sentimental person, and that's okay. Like, but I have to respect the fact that some people are, and it's not a problem until it becomes a problem. But if it's not a problem, then so be it. That's just something that I don't do that they do.
Makes watching Hoarders so terrifying, because in a way I do sort of, because I was there. I think late high school, early college, or for my first few movies, I was like, I got to keep some of this stuff because it means something.
I love Hoarders so
terrifying. Much. I know, I do too, but it's like, it's sad.
It is sad.
It's really sad.
It is sad. But a lot of the time, the good news is that a lot of the times, Hoarders, the show, is interesting because I don't know if they're just doing it as a production company because that's how TV works. But like Hoarders, literally, like the Hoarder, 99% of the time, you go like, you're rooting against them and you're almost happy when they get upset about it because you're like, good, because you're being a dick to your family. Like
they are, right? Usually,
like,
right? Yeah.
Usually they're being horribly mean to their family. And at the end, they put up the little thing. It's like they have not sought the after counseling, that was made available to them by Hoarders and stuff. So like, I mean, it's tough, but I think there's collecting.
Yeah, how many are successful? Is there like how many people actually go
they'll do Hoarders Revisited and stuff like that, and it's like, nope, 2 years later we revisit this person, they're right back on the wagon.
Would you rather watch a Hoarders that has like dead animals and feces all over, or an episode of the pimple popper? What's more heinous? Did those come up on my feed sometimes? Or the reels?
I have watched her.
Why is there
a
close up of that person's ear, and why is there a big black dot in it? And then I see like the tweezers going. I'm like, nope, no way. Even though I sort of want to see it, I can't. I don't know.
It's not satisfying to me, but it is it is intriguing to me. Like it blows my mind because a lot of stuff. What's wild about it is that usually if they're on that show, it's just like benign garbage. Like a lot of times, like just like, listen, this is just a cyst that kind of happened. Like the person's never really in danger. They just like, it just happens and they pop something, a bunch of stuff comes out, all different sorts of colors and consistencies and viscosities. But yeah, I've watched a couple episodes of it, but it's not something I like I'm nem for. Like some people
What's
are like,
your-
oh, it's so satisfying. I'm like, yeah, there's other satisfying stuff.
I get the idea of it being physically satisfying, as if like you know, had a picture with a circle and a hole, and you took the circle out, and it, but then actually seeing the
Yeah.
the viscous fluids,
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
What's your tolerance, and has it evolved for like blood, bodily fluid, like horrific scenes? Like, could you watch a medical surgery on TV versus in
Ooh.
person? Horror movies, I don't mind that really at all, but
horror movies are horror movies are great because I welcome the challenge of what can you show me that's weird, or like not
Yeah.
weird, but like what have I not seen before in horror movies? Like that's a challenge. Absurdly gross isn't good and mild isn't good, but there's a weird balance of just being creative with what you're showing. So that stuff, like it makes me cringe still, and I'll go like, oh, but I want to like
Yeah.
experience it. As far as real life goes, it's weird, man. I think I've been less bothered by like blood. It's weird. I will say that the last we'll do this. I'll transition to this. The last jacked up like weird injury I saw in person. So I went to a Raiders Steelers game in Pittsburgh, 20 September of 2021. I think it was week 2 in Pittsburgh. Raiders were in town. I had some friends from college that go and do a stadium tour every year. Well, one of the guys that I know couldn't go, so he was trying to sell his ticket. And they're like, oh, Jeff's a Raiders fan, and that happens to be a Raiders game. So I went. We go out there. Long story short, we're in the 300 levels, and it's halftime, okay? So one of the things this group of guys does every year is they smuggle us football into the stadium, and they'll throw it around like the concourse to each other until security takes it away. So it's halftime, and so we're sitting in towards the lower part of the 300s, and my buddy takes out his football, and he starts. He'll point to like someone in the crowd until someone like shish for it, and so he'll throw it to them, and they play catch in the stands.
Be an injury. Oh my god!
So they play catch in the stands. Well, as it goes on, people see catch happening. And of course, as crowds do, because it's halftime, there's nothing else to do. As soon as someone completes a pass, the crowd gets more and more into it. They're like, yeah. So my buddy's got a good arm. So he throws it up to probably about 15 rows back. Guy catches it. Now, think of a stadium as to throw it back to 15 like rows forward in the 300s. You're throwing you only have to launch the ball a little bit because then it has to plummet down so far. So my buddy's there, goes to catch it. It hits him, and he's like, oh, and I'm like, oh, jammed finger. I'm like, oh, people are like, oh, and he's like,
no.
And he just looks down and he goes to me, he goes, bones out. And I go, what? His like his finger right here, it dislocated compound and went right through the skin. So I literally see his like bone of his finger out of his skin, and we're like, oh. So I'm like, all right, man, let's go.
Going too far.
So I go, let's go. And so he's not good with blood. So it's not really bleeding, but he's just like staring at his finger. I'm like, don't look at it. I'm like, let's go. So we're trying to get through a crowd, and then I'm on the concourse, and I'm like, all right, let's go to like the suites, because the suites
got to show people to get through.
Yeah, not even like I'm like, I go to the suites because there's someone blocking the suites off that has like a microphone, like a walkie-talkie. So I go, hey, my buddy's injured. We need like a medic here. And she's like, what? And he shows her, and she's like, oh Lord. And so like the medics come and stuff. And so like he has to get taken to the ER for it. It was only 3 of us out of a group of 6 that were out of town. There was only 3 of us together. So he's going to the ER, and me and the other guy that are with him are like, all right, someone's got to go. So the other guy, Phil, that's with us, he's like, I'll go with Vic to the ER. You know, let the other guys know because it's halftime. So the other guys are walking around and stuff. Well, come to find out, the other 3 guys actually left the stadium and went to the bar. So I call them and I'm like, hey, I know this is going to sound like I'm bullshitting you. I'm like, but Vic's in the hospital because he jammed his finger. And mind you, the problem is we played a prank on the guy that I had to call. We played a prank on him 2 years ago, acting like one of the guys got arrested. And so I'm like, I know you're probably thinking I'm pranking you again. I'm like, but I'm not. So anyway, I'm like, where's the bar? I'll come visit you guys because I'm here by myself now. So I leave. We get a call from the other guy. One guy wasn't with them, went back to our seats, didn't see anyone. And he's like, why is someone telling me that someone in our group got hurt and went to the ER? And where are all of you? So like, it was just this big calamity. But yeah, dude, it was a dislocated finger, not broken, just dislocated so bad that it punctured the skin.
Yikes.
Yeah, that was pretty wild to watch, but it like didn't make me uncomfortable. I'm just like, whoa, because there was no blood involved.
Yeah, you've seen so much stuff online. I mean, I would think. I mean, like I think I'm okay with like blood, that kind of thing, fluids,
Mm-hmm.
body parts, but I think that kind of gets me like either a compound fracture, bone sticking out. I think is where I draw the line, or like, I mean, there's tons of videos, whatever, of like people breaking. Like the worst injury is a arm wrestling arm break. Like just those are the worst. I can't. I never ever watch that. Never. Will never.
No, I know one that's worse.
What the
A series of injuries. No, people trying to jump into pools and missing.
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah.
I actually there's your threshold for me. For some reason, it's something about those that are terrifying to me.
You can just see all of their bones and their feet.
It's
and,
not,
like,
I don't even have to
cracking.
see anything. Just the impact of like either missing or something or hitting their like. Nope. Anyone where a video starts and someone's like thumbs up and then they're near a pool. I'm like, nope. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, that's like the ridiculousness effect kind of thing, or Tosh.0 stuff, which I think is desensitized me a little bit. But there's still, I mean, yeah.
No, ridiculousness is such a pile of crap. It's Tosh.0 like bootleg.
I know.
Tosh.0 was so good. I love Daniel Tosh.
But it's always on. It's always on. It's not supposed to have a funny host. It's just supposed to be on all the time. And they do it.
One of my buddies from college had a video that was reviewed on ridiculousness.
Really?
Yeah, because it was popular enough on YouTube.
I heard Chanel's leaving. It's too bad.
I hate you.
It's too bad that I heard that.
I don't know. Yeah, I was going to say, it's too bad you know what you're talking about. That's a shame.
All right. Well, let's do some recs, and then we'll do another random word generator so we can be prepped for next week.
Interesting. Okay.
Do you have any recs?
Why don't you go first? Because no, I didn't think of it.
I've been thinking about it for a couple of weeks. This is
I know
well due, and we've already mentioned it, but I've already listened to it 7 times through. I'm loving, and it keeps growing on me. 72 seasons. The new Metallica album that came out, start to finish. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And I've liked their newer records too. The last couple they've come out just had some bangers on there. Really good songs, really good live songs. But to me, I don't even know necessarily this one has bangers per se. And maybe it does, but it's songs that keep growing on me, but I can tell are Metallica songs because it's like you can tell they just wrote songs. This is for me as a person, people who don't know, like grew up with it. They were my favorite band. For me, it made me like feel music. Like I was really into Ace of Base in '94.
Who wasn't?
Yeah, all that's, really into 93 Q pop music. And then when I heard Until It Sleeps in '96, which wasn't even like their biggest hit or necessarily Metallica, but I was like,
for our age.
Holy shit. Yeah. But I remember listening to that album Load when I mowed the lawn in my little CD fanny pack all the time. And this album has that for me, which another one hasn't in a long time, where I'll listen to the whole thing. So it's got like different sounds of like some of it's sort of Kill 'Em All-ish, some of it's more like bluesy, like Load stuff, some of it's like Black Album type stuff. You can tell each song is like intended to be the way it is, and it's like strictly Metallica. You can tell all they're trying to do is make music that they like, and it resonates. So to me, it's a full album listen. It's a multiple album list, and I listened to it again. I went for a walk yesterday, listened to it, and I keep picking up new things. Obviously, with Metallica, it's like, see if I can figure out the lyrics as well this time. But and the lyrics just speak to me too. It's a lot about. I mean, 72 seasons is like 18 years of life. The first 18 years, and how does that affect the rest of your life? How do you adapt to it? Who are you later in life? And it also has lore. Like it's weird because like Metallica is one of the only bands I know who reference some of their older lyrics in newer songs and or concepts,
Yeah,
and they'll
sequels.
revisit them. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, so yeah, straight up like Unforgiven. But they'll like even in some of these songs they reference either maybe a lyric or a concept from an old song, and how you can tell how James has changed or how he feels about it now, or and so if you're a fan for a long time, like you'll kind of pick that stuff up. But yeah, not really any ballads on it, but there's some groovy stuff, some heavy stuff, some thrashy stuff, and it's long. It's a long album. I walked for like an hour yesterday. I think I still had a couple more songs to go.
But isn't it like 5
Uh,
songs?
it's 12, 12
Oh, it
songs.
is 12? Why did I think
Yeah,
it was only like
I think they had like 4 or 5 single releases, but yeah, the whole album is I think it's 12. Um, but yeah, it's just it's a lively. It's just lively. It feels like a lively album.
oh,
Um,
weird. Yeah, I don't know what I was looking at earlier then.
and um, but yeah, and it's because I remember when some of the singles were coming out, and this is what it makes me realize too that it's like I like it for me and for my feelings about it, because I like one of my things I'll do sometimes is YouTube Vortex reactions, or maybe people haven't heard certain music or movies, and so many people were hating on a couple of songs they didn't have like it wasn't metal enough, or it didn't have like guitar solos that they liked and stuff, and I'm like, why do I even watch these? Like, and all of a sudden you like it's like, oh, you guys just want the same song over and over of like the same type of melody with the same type of guitar solo and all that, and I'm just like,
And it's
I just
weird.
gotta this album is for me. Like I just gotta enjoy it for why I like it, and it has like it's kind of I haven't for a long time. I haven't had an album that kind of like pumped me up or that I felt, and I just am I'm vibing with it right now. Maybe because it's new, but even the other albums they've released lately, I don't think I was into like the whole album all the way through. But this one I am. It takes me back to those lawn mowing days. Look out, America! I might mow your lawn with a fanny pack.
And he knows how to mow. He's certified. That's an art
Yeah.
certification he has.
Yep.
I don't think those ever
Yep.
ran out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Just to branch off of that, obviously, listening to a lot of punk and ska and stuff like that, and metal. Every genre has gatekeepers, and they're the worst humans.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't good enough. They used to be better. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, Master of Puppets was like we're going on 40 years like since Master of
Mm-hmm.
Puppets. Like, you need to relax. Like, if you didn't evolve, I'm sorry for you. But like, yeah, gatekeepers of music are the worst, and it
Bunch of
is.
people are like, oh, this is too similar to this, or this isn't the same. We want Master Puppets again. It's like this is the people that are like both sides.
Well, right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's tough because no one online wants to just have a healthy conversation about it and being like, you know what I really liked is this part where blah blah blah, or I think this.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to ever have constructive discussions about music. It's I'm better than you because I actually don't enjoy this. Like, music's a
Yeah.
weird world.
I'm gonna make a video about why I hate this for the
I
for
know.
the
The
likes.
people want to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I do have to listen to it because, yeah, it's weird. You know what? I'm looking on Spotify, and for some reason, there's a single that's just says 72 seasons, and that's 4 tracks. And then
Probably
there's
all
the
their single
album.
releases. Yeah.
That's all of them. So the only thing I had
Yeah, I
heard was
recommend it.
the only thing I heard was Lux Eterna, and I loved it.
Yeah, that was shreddy. So yeah, it's a lot of different sounds. Oh, the church bells are going off.
Blessed.
But yeah, I would say give it a couple listens,
Okay.
or check out like the lyric videos, because the lyrics I
Those
think
do
are
help. I do enjoy.
good, yeah.
I'm a big lyric reader. For a lot of music, going into like my subtitle, like watching shows with subtitles on, because I like to read it and I better understand stuff. But going with with media, I'm kind of torn because I have 2 things that I've been watching. I'm rewatching one and watching the new season of the other. So I'm gonna go off of this one because I think it's a harder sell for some people. I'm gonna recommend Ted Lasso. I started season 3 last night. Caitlin and I watched. There's I think 7 episodes released right now out of 12. This is supposed to be the final season, only season 3. So for those of you that don't like to be overwhelmed by extremely long shows. This is going 3 seasons and then it's going to be done. But Ted Lasso, what it brings is like it's a little bit of, it's humor, but someone described it as being like, it's not about what the show's topic and stuff is. It's never about the show's topic, but what they do is they do a really great job of like emotions and feelings, of like getting you to be sympathetic with characters, empathetic with characters, make parallels between your own feelings and situations in the show. They don't they don't make it overly dramatic like a lot of TV shows that are dramas do. They're not absurdly like big, oh my God, stay tuned next week for this breaking story where like we throw in massive curveballs.
Cliffhangers.
It's not that. It's generic situations that seem very run of the mill that you can just parallel. And that's the best way I could say is like, it makes you think about your own life, your own feelings. And, Ted is a very outgoing, friendly, quick-witted, good-hearted guy, but like deals with his own personal home life that's not 100% great. He's got anxiety that he has a really hard time dealing with and doesn't let on to people. And maybe that's where I feel like it's, very relatable. But I'm telling you, the price to pay to get Apple TV, and if you want, wait till this season. This season should be completed, I think, at the end of May. It is 100% worth paying like $15 for whatever your initial like Apple TV subscription is to watch this show. This show is phenomenal. It is an amazing, amazing show. I'm not going to tier it in my own or anything like that, but it is 100% worth your watch. And I can say that as a very open recommendation, which I don't think you can do with a lot of shows. There's not a style of person that I don't think would benefit from seeing the show, because it's enjoyable and fun, but it also brings a lot of emotion, and it takes it to a level I've never seen in a show. I have no show to compare it to, which is what makes it special. And the fact that it all comes really from the mind of Jason Sudeikis puts him on such a higher tier for me than just being like a funny actor, like a guy from SNL. Like him doing this show, it just blows my mind. But yeah, that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, I've been like an Apple TV holdout, not for any other reason except I guess I just haven't. I mean, I've heard of Ted Lasso. Obviously, a lot of people like it. So I do want to see that. What do they have? Like Severance.
Yep.
There's like a Tetris movie.
Yes.
I think I was just holding out for like a bunch of content
Sure.
so I could maybe binge it all. So maybe I'll wait till Ted Lasso comes out. Then I will get it for a month and then pay for it for another 2 years.
Right, and then I'll forget to get,
just like every other service.
Yeah, I'll get the introduction where I get 3 months free, and then I'll forget about it, and then just pay it forever.
I think I have like 6 different devices in my house that all say like get Apple TV free for 3 months.
Yeah, I think I can still use my PlayStation one. PlayStation comes with like 6 months of Apple TV.
Dude, I do need to see that.
It is, man. Yeah. It's so good.
How heavy is it on the soccer?
On the football.
Football.
No, you want to know what? It's a nice balance. It's if you know nothing and want to know nothing about soccer, it's still a great show. Like it doesn't overdo soccer. That's just what his job is. Just as anyone else's job in a show, like the other characters are the team, but it's not games playing soccer isn't the idea. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing about like soccer strategy. That's the idea. It's just the interaction of the people. So it's a lot of stuff that, like I said, the supporting cast is mostly revolving around Ted being an American. He's like a D2 college coach that got hired to be a soccer coach in Premier League in the ESL. ESL? No, that's English Single Language. EPL. There we go. English Premier League.
There we go.
But yeah, it's not heavy on the football, I wouldn't say.
Nice. All right. Let's roll for... I didn't even say this
virtual
episode
roll.
Yet. What episode are we on? Yeah.
This is episode 14?
Sure it is.
That's all good. Right. I'm glad we're both paying attention to.
Anyway, when you get so prolific, it's hard. It's hard to remember everything.
It's hard to remember anything and everything.
Yeah. All right. Drum roll, please. Print. Parking.
Stuff. Print and parking and stuff. Well, I don't know how I'm going to intertwine stuff into it, but print and parking.
Yeah, parking stuff. Yeah, I can. I have a parking story already. A couple.
I'm sure I do.
Involves. Why is Michelle Obama smiling at me?
Why not?
Hey, girl. Tease. It involves getting to somebody else's car. I've done it more than once.
Awesome.
We'll leave it at that. All right. Guten Tag, friends.
Peace.
Have a great day. Have a pleasant tomorrow. And yesterday.
I've confused my priorities. Isn't it so